What's up, guys? It's Death. Wanted to make a little video here talking about why I love philosophy. I was going to say it would probably be a short video, but knowing me, I can take, 5 minutes and turn it into 25. So I'm not going to give any expectation on how long the video might be, but I wanted to explore the idea of why I love philosophy. And not only are you going to hear my thoughts and feelings on why I love philosophy, but also that it is a great way to surround yourself with better people and have more intellectual or intelligent friends if you're lacking in that department. And I'll give you the case as to why throughout the video as well. So, a lot of you probably wondered, how'd you go from reacting to anime videos? How'd you go from just kind of like breaking down some of the things that you love the most about like cinematography, like the details, things like that? How'd that all come to you enjoying or having such a proclivity for philosophy? And I've always had a deeper urge to look into things that I guess would be in the philosophical realm before I knew of philosophy in general. I always was looking for a sense of meaning, a sense of like symbolic meaning in film and games, trying to see if there's like a deeper layer to than what is just presented, not only in life, but in media and all the other things that I consume. So I can't say quickly, but over time I had come across philosophy and kind of discovering some of the greatest writers and greatest thinkers of our time, which has influenced me abundantly throughout my personal life, throughout, my YouTube videos, the way I look at film, the way I look at games. Uh, I did just take a deeper look, just about everything. Now, almost to this point, I don't want to become conspiratorial. In my videos, my reactions, I go through a lot of theories and things like that. I just find it fun. I don't want to try to find things where they're not. But if there are symbolic things that bring themselves to your or my or anyone's attention, I like to pay them credit. I like to recognize them and explore them a little further. Whether it's like an artist's painting, where you discover that you can look at the painting in multiple ways. If it tells the story, where most people just look at a picture and see a picture, you try to look and see what the artist was either feeling, how they depicted the picture that they depicted, and just multiple ways of expression, which I just find so invigorating and so, I guess, I just find them interesting. And so there's a whole big culture that goes around, like in the business media or like the hustle culture of today. And the concept has sat with me for quite some time. When I've listened to podcasts, I've listened to creators, I've listened to multiple people say, you'll only be as rich as the three richest people in your circle. Or your life, if you want to see what your life's going to look like 10 years from now, look at the people that surround you. This is going to be what your life looks like, based upon the people that you are friends with, based upon the people you surround yourself with daily. You can kind of tell your motivation, your mental status, the place where you are mentally in your life based on the people that surround you. And typically, it's easy for these people to go, ditch those poor friends, ditch those people that aren't motivating you to further your business, further yourself, further whatever. But what's hard in doing those things for a lot of people is, okay, that sounds great. I've come to grips with that some of these people are surrounding me with negativity. They're surrounding me with they're pulling my motivation down. They don't have the same vision that I do. They don't see it. They don't think it's possible for me. And it's like, okay, now I've come to grips with this. Now, where's those motivated friends? Where's those people that are here to inspire? Where are these people that think like me? Where are these people that are going to support me on this journey? And oftentimes, especially if you're in one of those scenarios where it's a lack of belief or lack of ambition, It's going to be hard. I don't know why I said it like hard. It's going to be hard to find people that have that same mindset, because when did they become as enlightened as you? When did they start having those same ambitions? And it's not as simple as, oh, let's just go to your typical business conference, or if you want to start a business in your local area, let me look for other people trying to start a local business. Now, maybe you can find some mentors. I've done this as well. Look for somebody older in a position that you would like to be in, or like to see yourself when you're their age, and reach out to them. Just ask them, like, hey, I love what you're doing. How did you do it? And typically, a lot of people, if someone acknowledges the success that they have, they acknowledge um, their mental maturity or their assets or anything like that. Typically, people take that as a compliment, and they're probably more opt to tell a story to you. They're like, oh, well, he kind of noticed that what I did. People don't ask me about this every day. Normally, it's very transactional. This will give me just a little time to tell my story. And everybody likes to talk about themselves in some regard. So that's one way. Now, when you see like a lot of things going on in the modern day, things that bring up questions, whether it's based in whether it's based in politics, whether it's based on like theology in the religious department, economics, those things, you might be like, well, who do I go to? Or I don't like what I'm seeing here. These things are bothering me. Or like, where did these people get these ideas from? Typically, as a big history buff myself, I try to always like go back. It's like, okay, I see a lot of these ideas that are being presented to us, either being presented to us as new, or they're being just presented to us in general. And it's like, where did these start? Where did these come from? So I'm a big guy that likes to go back and look at the history of things. Where did these ideas come from? Where the terms that a lot of people are using, it seems that like they're all using the same vernacular. They're using the same type of language when they're talking about these things. So let's try to discover where some of this terminology and things go down. Then you go down the whole philosophy loophole, per se, or rabbit hole. It's kind of like the YouTube video loop. You find more and more philosophers. This one influenced this one. This one had critiques of this one. And you can kind of see there was kind of battles of thoughts, or war on thoughts, where they would combat each other. My friend that's actually in college right now was telling me, I'm looking into philosophy now, and I'm like, great, maybe we can start talking about it. I'm not, I'm not just ranting about it and talking about it all the time to myself, or exploring these ideas myself. He's like, oh no, he's like, no, this is just a college course. He's like, all these guys do is contradict each other. So he was looking at it as philosophy was a one group to combine them all, where you're going to have a variety of ideas that either contradict each other, they critique one another, they go back and forth, and they kind of share their own philosophical and intellect across what they see, what they study, what they research. And as I've studied philosophy more and more, and I read books, I watch videos, I do research on their history, I come to feel as if I almost know the philosopher. Now, not in the sense where you like know them to their deepest level, or you're the best one to interpret their works because you spent the most time reading their works. Of course, you don't know any personal ambitions and things like that they may have. But I found myself, I'm like, man, I'm finding myself in great company. It's like these ideas aren't new. A lot of these are being expressed throughout time. A lot of these ideas that we consider new, we think we're streaming new things live, where they've been recorded on VHS, they've been on cassette tape for a long time, or even down to papyrus, if you will. And I've realized, I'm like, through reading and looking at history and looking within the bodies of philosophers' work, it's almost as if you're gaining friends in that intellectual space. You're beginning to see people that are asking questions that you might be asking yourself now, or even ask more profound questions way, way, way long ago. And so, my encouragement to you guys is if any of you guys also enjoy philosophy, is to start reading, start doing research. If you find philosophers or people that intrigue you, their ideas intrigue you, or like just maybe a piece of work or research paper they did, anything like that, um, you'll start to build kind of a repertoire, and you'll start to see where some of the things that you see in modern day that they may have influenced with their philosophy and things such as that. And you start to find yourself, it's like, why would I ask modern people in general? There's some great philosophers that we have today, like Steven Pinker, John Vernacke, Jordan Peterson. Trying to think, there's quite a few that I can think of off the top of my head where they're very, very, very good at looking at the past. A lot of them inspired by like Carl Jung, and as I study them, and Jonathan Haidt, I love Jonathan Haidt's work. But as I study them, I'm like, okay, great. I'm in great company with today, the modern era. And as I look back, I can study Jung, I can study C.S. Lewis, I can study Nietzsche, Socrates, Plato, Dostoevsky, you name it, Jean Piaget. And as I go back and further, and I invest myself in these ideas and I study them, and I look at YouTube videos about people breaking down their work, or I read critiques. Um, I find myself, I'm like, man, it's intellectually stimulating. It's almost as if I'm having a conversation with these people in modern time, even though that they're no longer here, of course. Um, I can surround myself with their work to the point of where it's like these conversations that I'd like to have with other people. Sometimes I can just have within myself or have within the idea of the book. So they propose ideas. I can put my thoughts, write my thoughts down or just think them. And okay, this is essentially where I think that, this writer's going to go, and you can see the path, you can see the road that they pave throughout their book. And it's like, oh, I didn't expect him to take this turn, or I didn't expect them to find this out or have this finding within their research. It's definitely not what I predicted. And most of the time, when you're researching anything, you'll typically get results that you never predict anyway. So my proposition to you guys is, if you have a love of philosophy, or if you're on that business hustle grind mindset where you're looking to surround yourself with, you know, people of higher intellect, people that ask smarter questions or have bigger questions than what you find in your day-to-day surroundings. Not to say that they're superior in any way, but if you don't find the conversations that stimulating, look back on history. Look to philosophy. Just do basic Google searches of, where did this start? Where did this idea come from? And you can kind of go down that rabbit hole and discover complete bodies of work, whether it's research papers, whether it's biographies, whether it's written by those people themselves. You can start to visit that, and you can start to find yourself in great company. It's almost conversational, because as you read some of these writers and philosophers, you see that a lot of times the way they write almost seems as if they're talking to themselves. They're proposing questions to themselves, and any good book or essay either proposes a question and then proceeds to attempt to answer it or answers it. So a lot of these writers take that into each book, into each research paper. They propose a question, and then they either break it down and propose an answer, or they have one with certainty, or they give explanation as to why they come to the conclusions that they have in the books. So if you want to if you want to upgrade your inner circle, you can still enjoy the same friends you have. If you have positive friends, of course, if you have negative or toxic people in your life that are bringing you down or really hindering you bettering yourself, of course, it's a great rule of thumb to um, bid those people adieu and then tell them, have a good time on your journey. I'm going in this direction. It seems you're going in the opposite one. But don't feel, especially, uh, within doing YouTube, I found so many people, not just from like the United States, but across the world, that have been interested in, my reaction videos, the way I break things down. They're interested in, how my mind works. I'm interested in how their mind works. And it's crazy that the power of the internet, um, can do so many positive and negative things, but to try to give it utility, give it more of a purpose, it's like use it for something that will benefit you. So if it's join a Discord of people that are interested in philosophy, you can meet people that way. It might not even be in the physical life that you're able to make friends in that realm that share those similar interests, but the internet has done a great job of connecting people that way. But if you want to go down to a very analog state, if Discord disappears tomorrow, the best way to surround yourself with like-minded people, or people that will continue to help you expand your mind, is to read their work. So that's my gesture. That's my proposition to you guys. Not only why I love philosophy, but why either you guys should, or a way you guys can find yourself in better company. Read your favorite readers. They will propose concepts that you didn't even know of, especially because a lot of their bodies of work are so deep. You know, um, I've read some of C.S. Lewis's books on, I was going to say religion, but his was specifically Christianity. I've seen the Narnia movies, but some of his like most underappreciated work is like his science fiction novels. And I'm on the third one. I've started reading it, but I haven't continued. But the first one, I think it was Into the Silent Planet, and then the next one was Paralandis. I can't remember. It's actually why throughout my reaction series on the anime reaction channel, when I called Paralandis instead of parody for the Attack on Titan series, is actually because I was in the midst of reading that book. But that work was great. I loved his science fiction series. I want to start studying more of Carl Jung. I want to. I have a couple books from Dostoevsky bought. Um, Nietzsche, I have kind of studied abroad. I probably had a brief spout with nihilism throughout my teenage years, which, I mean, I'm sure many people go through a nihilistic phase. But as I realized, like, some of these thoughts that I was having, or some of uh, the things I was expressing in my everyday life, really lined up with some of the doom and gloom Nietzsche has put out. And maybe that was a proponent of maybe my surroundings, or people may have been influenced by him, or where I was at academically. I don't know. But as I've worked, I've studied, I've read more and more, I find myself in great company, and I find that, oh, there's other people that have thought about these things. Their job was to think, and most of the time these days, it's our job to try to think as the least amount of possible. It seems, a lot of the things that we do today seem that they are done or thought for us. And as somebody that actively tries to fight against that, or do the complete opposite of that, um, I find myself surrounding myself with some of the greatest and smartest people throughout human history. So a lot of the friends I can refer back to when it comes to um, intellectually stimulating is some of the greatest philosophers of all time, because to me they are friends. It's the wisdom that they give you is almost like a grandfather speaking to you and sharing something with you that, you know I've been through these hard times, or I've seen these things that are coming, and so I just want to keep you away from it. So it's like learn from their experiences instead of having to do, many many troublesome things that you could have possibly read yourself out of. Like if you want to fly a plane, I really don't suggest just trying to, start from the ground up. The Wright brothers did a lot of the groundwork. If you want to learn to fly, the pathway is much easier than demanding that you do it yourself. Now, if you want the challenge of discovering it yourself, more power to you. I find that there'll probably be a lot of time wasted, but I often look that I can refer back to some really good friends of the past to help me decipher some of the what seems like uncharted territory of today, but is often just a beaten old path that the sign might have fell down on because we haven't traveled it in quite some time. So that's just some encouragement for you guys that enjoy philosophy as well. Hopefully, you guys got a little insight into why I love it. Not only just from the stimulating side, but I find it gives me friends throughout history. And one of the things I loved as I started reading again, and I will preface this by saying I was never a very big reader. I was 18 or 19. I was taking some business courses, kind of like looking into motivation stuff, and they're like, "Dude, start reading." And I'm like, I never enjoyed reading in school. The material was always picked for me. I just couldn't find it stimulating. I couldn't find it interesting. And so there was I start with articles. I start with, Wikipedia pages. I start with some people talking about writers or different books on YouTube. And then I slowly ease myself into, okay, I can't always dedicate the time to read a physical book, but I use Audible quite frequently, and this is not sponsored by Audible, but that would actually be a good plug if they were, because I use them quite frequently, especially because I travel so much for work. It's much easier and much better for me to be able to listen to a book as opposed to only being able to dedicate the time to it when I can sit down and read it. Also, the pages don't get ripped. The book doesn't get lost. As long as I have a phone, iPad, whatever, I have an audiobook along with me. But as I've started reading more and more and more, the quote that I've heard is so true is, a person that doesn't read lives one life, but a person that does read lives many lives, whether it's through fiction, nonfiction. You get to see through the lens of people that lived or fictional people that haven't. And fiction, I've argued this completely throughout my anime reaction series on the other channel that, if you think you can't take lessons from these narratives written by actual people that have just been animated, you're incredibly wrong. There's lessons and messages within every form of media that you consume, whether it's Attack on Titan, the complex ideas of, supporting your in-group, your nation, your people, past grievances, past sins, paying for your father's sins in that regard. And these ideas aren't new. It's just rewrapped in a new wrapper. And so it's so interesting. So if you haven't thought this way before, or you just really, that's what a lot of people end up telling me is like, man, I've never really looked at it that way. And so use this, even if this video is something that makes you think a little bit more, use that as a little cornerstone for you to begin to look for deeper meaning in other things. Start looking at the fiction, the things that you spend so much time watching, whether it's anime, whether it's movies, TV shows. It's like, what am I telling myself when I watch this? What is the message that they are giving to me? And honestly, if there's not a message that's being said, or there's no meaning, it's probably garbage. So like reality TV, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, I don't find that you're going to find anything educational or stimulating or encouraging in any way by Keeping Up with the Kardashians. But in a lot of fiction and a lot of biographies and other things, there's great lessons to take away from those. So that's just another reason why I love philosophy. I feel like philosophy is embedded in almost everything that we do, and all the medias and things that we consume. So that's why I love philosophy. It gives you great friends, it gives you great ideas, and it gives me great things to talk about when I talk with you guys when we're live on Twitch or in the comment section after you guys watch videos like this. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Hopefully this gave you guys some insight. Let me know how you guys feel about philosophy, if when we've talked about it on stream or when I've talked about it in videos or in reactions. If it's made you think harder or think more about the things that you watch or consume. Let me know how philosophy and things have shown itself to you in your life, or how you've incorporated it in your life. I'd love to hear from you guys. Love you guys so much. Hope you're having a great day. I'm Death. I'm out. Peace.